Vibe coding won't make you rich, but there's one thing that will, and nobody is talking about it. If you are the software engineer who keeps building and waiting for one app to completely change your life, I was you. I was a software engineering manager at a Fortune 500 company and had a graveyard of dead side projects and other ventures that I kept doing and vibe coding until I quit and I built AB Analytics, a B2B AI consulting firm down here in Los Angeles. And the thing that finally worked had almost nothing to do with how well I could code. So in this video, I'm going to explain why vibe coding won't make you rich as a software engineer and what actually will. So who is this for? This video is for devs who can build but cannot get paid. So you're in the right room if you can ship but nobody's buying what you're building. You're sick of the SaaS casino and you want odds as opposed to just hype. You shouldn't watch this video if you want passive money for zero effort, or if you want to do all of this without having to talk to a human being. If you refuse to talk to a human being, this is not going to be for you. Now, let's get straight into it. If you're watching this video, you will fall into one of three categories. Either A, you're still building, you don't have any users just yet. Either you've already shipped something and it died, or you haven't yet gotten started because you are afraid to. This is not only conducive to a SaaS, this can also refer to a service. Okay, now before we actually get into it, I want to showcase a few examples of other software engineers who were in these exact categories and what happened after they actually took in the framework that we're going to be discussing in this particular video. John, one of our best founders from Code to CEO, ended up getting a $4.5 million acquisition offer for his agency that he built in the Bay Area, serving literally just boring HVAC companies. And he said never in a million years would he think that this would be possible. Masa, one of our founders from Japan, English isn't even his first language, ended up securing multiple $10,000 one-month prototype contracts for freelance type of gigs that he was doing. And he did not want to scale it even further because he simply didn't have the time to go out and do it. And with the money he was making, he was more than happy in Japan. Paul, one of our founders from the United States, he ended up making more money in January and February of 2026 than the previous year at his 9-to-5. Right now, he's doing over $50,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue, and he's doing all of that through the exact same process that he learned. And of course, Chris, one of our other founders from the United States, located in the Bay Area, closed his first client on his first sales call, has over $20,000 in monthly pipeline month to month going into the 2027 year. None of these individuals that I just showcased, and there's plenty more where they came from, got rich from code or vibe coding, okay? What they ended up doing is they owned the distribution first and foremost. So that's the number one lie that you've been sold, okay? You only see the winners out there. Any X post that you see, any YouTube video that you watch, any Instagram reel that you see about somebody vibe coding an application, making TikTok videos over it, blowing up $100,000 a month. These are the posts that you see, but what you do not see are the countless, hundreds of thousands of other individuals who quietly failed because nobody wants to make their failure public. So what ends up happening is you begin to see these outliers and you think this is the norm, but it is not. Furthermore, of the wins that you do see, the overwhelming majority of these overnight wins already had an existing audience. So what you think happened was somebody ended up building an app, they got rich overnight, and it was because they were such great software engineers, and if you can't do it, it's because you suck. No, what actually ended up happening is they most likely did some building in public type of thing, they garnered an audience, they launched to that warm audience, and they sold to people already listening and liking them. Okay, it's extremely easy to sell to somebody if they like you. For the most part, I have a video on this, I analyze over 1,000 vibe coded apps in the current market, and 97 of them are either dead, abandoned, breached, or making nothing. And frankly, this 97 is pretty conservative. In reality, it's over 99.99%. I only took a look at the vibe-coded apps that actually made it out, and people spent a decent amount of time on them. I didn't take a look at just regular person's try at a vibe-coded application. The analogy that Yahweh would want to make here is a nail gun doesn't make you a contractor. Similarly, vibe coding isn't going to magically make you a software engineer or make you rich. It's a tool. And the tool has never been the bottleneck. A carpenter with bad tools can still build a house. Obviously, with better tools, he'll be able to do it faster, but that doesn't mean he can't build a house. That's why he's the carpenter. Another important thing that people don't quite understand when it comes to this world of entrepreneurship is that when a startup fails, The overwhelming reason most of the time is because there was no market need for it. It's not because the code was bad, okay? Let's take a look at Cal AI, one of the most popular examples people bring up when it comes to vibe coding and a young kid vibe coding something and selling it for $1 gazillion. First and foremost, the founder himself said that the real inflection point was the distribution. Second of all, he wasn't just on a lone team, he had other people behind him. Third of all, what he ended up making, or what Cal AI essentially was, it was the first mover in photo calorie tracking. It was more about execution and speed as opposed to vibe coding or the idea itself. Furthermore, 90% of their efforts went into the marketing and distribution. They scaled on paid influencer ads, they sold it to MyFitnessPal as the exit, and that was literally all about distribution. It wasn't about vibe-coded lottery, right? There's plenty of other vibe-coded Cal AI competitors out there. The reason Cal AI did what they did was not only because they were first, but also because they spent an overwhelming amount of money and time on the distribution factor. Furthermore, a lot of the people on their team already had the distribution channels to get Cal AI out there. With that same exact team, any software that they were going to make was most likely going to succeed because they already had the distribution channels set up. So what did you just learn? Building was never the bottleneck, even before vibe coding, right? Maybe it was obviously a little bit more difficult and you had to place a little bit more emphasis on it, but the main thing always and always will be is distribution, marketing. The market kills you and not your code. Every single winner that you also see nowadays, chances are they already had the distribution. Because once again, think of it as a formula. X plus Y equals Z. Your Y, that distribution, if it's missing, it does not matter how good your X is, it's never gonna essentially complete that formula, okay? Now, let's talk about the game that nobody tells you to play. SaaS, regardless of what people might say, even though yes, it has one of the highest ceilings out there because you can get multi-billion-dollar exits, it has some of the worst odds when it comes to probability of success. Sure, your ceiling can be $1 billion or $1 gazillion, but that's a theoretical max. That does not mean that that's what you're actually going to be able to do with the software that you create. Your odds of actually getting there are extremely minuscule. Less than 1% of SaaS make any meaningful revenue, let alone getting to $1 million or $1 billion in valuation, okay? So you need to stop chasing that ceiling and you need to start chasing the odds. Less about how much money can I theoretically make and more about what is the highest probability that I can at least make a small amount of money and I can incrementally go up from there. A smaller ceiling you actually reach is gonna beat $1 billion that you will never touch. And I'm not saying this so you get discouraged. I'll talk about how you can actually get to that level later. But for now, starting off, especially after having conversed with over thousands of you at this point, that is not the goal you want to get to anyways, okay? Now, this all is leading to what I call the local celebrity model. And this is exactly what I did with my firm, AB Analytics. This is exactly what I did in my own city, Glendale in Los Angeles. And this, we have essentially done copy-pasted for every single founder inside Code to CEO in their own locations. And the results have been amazing, right? Simply unbelievable. You become the engineer that your city thinks of for anything AI or tech related. Now, why does this make so much sense? Because in the US alone, for example, there's close to 36 million small businesses, small and medium-sized businesses. And only 8.8% of them use AI. But whenever I say use AI, it's not even a proper use case of AI. In reality, less than 1%, I would say, have a proper use case for it and are actually using it. For the most part, that lane is going to be empty. And keep in mind, this figure has to go to 100%. This is similar to Industrial Revolution. Take a look at the printing press, what happened with the newspaper industry. They had to adapt to that specific technology. And then when the internet came out, what ended up happening? All the printing companies for newspapers pretty much went out of business because people started reading that stuff online, okay? Digital newsletters. So this isn't that, okay, is a business gonna use AI or not? Maybe if they wanna switch. No, they're gonna be forced to switch either because they won't be able to compete, okay? Now, what ends up happening because of the technological advancement and social media and all this other hype that's being created, online keeps getting louder and louder and louder. You have more devs on there than ever before. Everybody's a guru, everybody's a clone, and you have infinite noise. Nobody's actually doing anything meaningful. At least, I shouldn't say nobody. My vast majority are not doing anything meaningful. However, on a local level, you are going to be most likely the only software engineer who's going to be taking action. Now, obviously, you'll have other software engineers in your city, chances are, but the chances of them being in the same zip code as you, the chances of them actually doing exactly what we're going to be talking about is going to be almost nobody. I mean, just take a look at how many views this video is going to get, and of those views that people actually watch, how many are actually going to take action on it. So, the producer who owns one city is going to beat the one lost in the feed, okay? You can have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people online, and I guarantee you that one person that's a local celebrity is going to make significantly more money, is going to have everything more than these other individuals. Case my point. And I'm not even that big where I am. I literally serve only 50 to 100 businesses on a consistent basis. Some of these low ticket, some of these high ticket, but the amount of businesses in my area is in the thousands, okay? Over 10,000 businesses in my area that I can serve, and I'm only serving less than 100 at any given moment on a month-to-month basis, okay? Now, what I do want to say is this window is going to close. This is not going to stay open forever, okay? You already have Apple, Anthropic, and a lot of other companies trying to get this out there as quickly as possible. They're trying to accelerate the AI adoption window. You already have this being done for the big four, right? And just the Fortune 500 companies. And now you with ambassadorship programs from Claude, as well as the Claude for small businesses, they're trying to make it a little bit more mainstream. So right now we are in this open window. I would say we are on the beginning stages of it. This is most likely going to last, in my personal opinion, about 2 to 5 year range. By 2030, for the most part, we will already be done with this window. There will already be companies, there will already be other local celebrities who have established themselves as the individual that will be responsible to connect the non-technical to the technical that will help these businesses adopt to AI. That does not mean all thing is lost, all hope is lost. It just means it's going to get significantly difficult after the fact. Now is pretty much the golden stage to do it in. This is literally a golden goose that's going to lay you golden eggs, okay? And keep in mind, you might be thinking as a software engineer, okay, but what do I have to offer? Why would these businesses want to work with me? Well, how would I even become a local celebrity? First, you can build anything. The fact that you can actually ship software is so important because non-technical founders that are going to try to vibe code, they're not going to be able to do the same things that you're going to be able to do. Furthermore, you have an understanding of AI, not only because you use it yourself, but also because you fulfill with it. That is extremely different from a non-technical founder hearing about the buzzword and trying to go and do stuff with it, okay? And the last thing, you are local to the people around you. It's a familiar face. You live right there. Your actual name is on the line. People know you can't, scam, you can't do a bad job because if you're local, people are going to know your name. It's going to be embarrassing if you do so. So you have something to protect. All of these together come to form your exact unique advantage in your local area. No agency overseas is going to be able to compete with you on the same level because they're not local, they don't have your face, they don't know you, right? And they're not going to be able to approach these businesses and do exactly what you're trying to do. So what did we just learn right here? Well, we learned that we want to play the probability game, not the lottery game, okay? That does not mean you do not take risks, you still take risks. However, we want to take risks that are appropriate for us to take. Local is the empty lane right now. There's nobody that is focused on this at this moment in time. I've been making these videos for close to 2 years now, and I still have yet to see actual competition in LA, one of the most prominent cities in the entire world when it comes to what I'm doing, okay? So if I'm not seeing any competition in LA, none of you guys have to worry about whatever's happening in your city, unless maybe you're in the Bay Area. But even then, we have a couple founders inside Code to CEO in the Bay Area doing the same exact thing, and they are not even touching when it comes to stepping over each other's foot, okay? Your unfair advantage also cannot be cloned. That's why it's called unfair advantage. You're the only person in the world who has exactly what you have. Now, let's get into building distribution first, and then actually building the product second. Everyone builds and then looks for buyers. But what you're going to do is you're going to flip that in reverse, okay? So the wrong order is you build, you launch, you search for users, and then it ends up dying. The right order is you find the buyer, get a yes, get payment, and then you build, okay? Sort of like a good analogy of this, a smart food truck parks where the line already is. It doesn't build a kitchen in a desert and pray that people are gonna drive out because the food is so good, okay? Now, where are these so-called buyers, right? How do we actually find them such that they pay us and then we can build exactly what it is they want? Well, these buyers are all in a room in your local area. Your Chamber of Commerce. Every single city has one. Very low cost, very high trust. For example, the Chamber of Commerce in my city, it's about a $300 membership, the cheapest one. You can join for the year and you have access to thousands of businesses. And these are not small businesses. You can have a Costco, you can have a Bank of America, you can have very big businesses that are part of the Chamber of Commerce. You can also have the small mom and pop shops, sure. But now you have access to business owners that you can go and converse with. BNI chapter, Business Network International. Referral-based business networking, once again with a yearly membership. Most likely than not, you will have a chapter in your city. And of course, other local events and hubs. And I don't only mean showing up to local events and hubs, but also hosting your own, okay? Keep in mind, Claude ambassadorship program, Cursor ambassadorship program. People now are a lot more motivated to host events. You can host an event talking about AI in your city, and you will automatically become a recognizable name because you are taking action and leading the city in adoption for AI. There's nothing stopping you from even putting up a quick little post about it, right? Hosting it at a cafe, 5 to 10 people for your first one, and going out and doing it. And all of these places, it's a room full of business owners who already trust one another. And if they see a familiar face, they are going to be a lot more likely to help you out, okay? For BNI, right, 26.4 billion passed in one network, 17.4 million referrals, 340,000 members, one networking org, 1 year. And this room most likely exists in your city, especially if you're based in the United States. Now, how do we actually go about doing this, putting this into practice? Well, what I'll show you later is a live demo of everything that I'm going to talk about, but you can use Claude to help you do this for you such that you don't spend any time on the mundane details. So the first thing you want to do is you want to map the city that you're in. You then want to scout in person. You want to turn every single call or conversation that you have with individuals into deliverables, and you want to reinvest that into content. This is going to be the roadmap for the next 4 steps that we're going to talk about. So let's get into it. First, if you utilize Claude, you can pretty much read your entire city in a few minutes with one deep research prompt. You don't even have to use deep research. You can just use the 4.7 for adaptive thinking, and it'll do pretty good on that as well. But every business in a 25-mile radius, their reviews and complaints, every chamber, every BNI, every event that's happening, and other things that might be unique to your own city. You just utilize Claude to find this for you, and then you move on to step 2. 1 month of scouting and actually showing up where people are at. You do this 1 month, it's going to be significantly more important, and also you're going to have a higher ROI than if you just sit down and build for a full year. I know people think it's productive because you're executing, but in reality, the most high ROI thing you can be doing is having conversations with individuals. Because at the end of the day, who's going to give you the money? It's going to be an individual, okay? So join these rooms, introduce yourself as the AI person, and find real business problems in real people. Number 3, record every single conversation, okay? Basically what I do and what we do at our firm is every single sales call that we have, every single prospecting call that we have, it gets transcribed. It gets fed into Claude, and based on the flow of the conversation, Claude generates either requirements documents, proposals, particular automations that we're gonna have to decide to do. And essentially, we utilize this to its fullest extent, such that there is no admin friction for me. I can sell and I can deliver. Claude does all the other paperwork. Obviously, we have SOPs in place, so standard operating procedures to make sure everything here flows smoothly and it doesn't generate wrong stuff. We'll get into that a little bit later. And of course, the last step, cash becomes content, which becomes more cash. So what ends up happening is you get a client, right? They pay you. You get a case study when you deliver. You turn that case study into content. Now you get more clients. When I say content, I don't mean doing it on a world level. I mean on a local level. because locally you can become a local celebrity not only through networking and referrals, but also, let's say, a Facebook group or LinkedIn, things like that. You can have a local presence online as well, digitally as well. So that's exactly what we do, is on a fundamental level, we go out there, we make sure everybody knows of us. We turn that into case studies such that we can get organic inbound from other people in the city, and it just keeps looping by itself. The more you do, the bigger the snowball that you create, and the more momentum that you build, it becomes extremely difficult to stop this. And keep in mind, your real local wins become the proof that nobody can fake. This is AI-proof content that you're going to be making, and nobody can compete with you on the same level because it is completely unique to you. Think about my own exact brand here. Because I build things locally, there's not going to be anybody that's going to be able to compete on the same level as I am. Now, what did we just learn? Well, you learned to find a buyer before you build, right? You learned that there's already rooms that exist with the buyer in place locally to you, so you don't have to go out of your way to find them. And you learned that you can utilize Claude to remove pretty much every ounce of friction that might be holding you back from getting started with this. So let me show you everything here live, okay? Now, let's get started with the live demonstration. I'm not gonna use anything complicated, go on Claude Code with some crazy setup. I'm just gonna utilize good old regular Claude, okay? Now, I'm not gonna talk about prompting or anything of that sort. I'm gonna keep this as simple as possible so you understand that there really is nothing too difficult when it comes to exactly what we're trying to do here. So, I highly recommend, for the most part, Opus 4.7, put it on adaptive thinking mode, right? If you have the actual tokens for it. And all you really want to do is just talk with it to identify the information that you're missing. This is more of a knowledge gap. That's what we're trying to fill out here. We're trying to pay this ignorance of us not knowing this knowledge. Now, let's assume I'm located in, I'm not going to use my own city because I already have all the answers. So let's assume I am located in Austin, Texas, okay? I am located in Austin, Texas. I am a software engineer who is quite well versed in AI. I wish to help businesses adopt AI, considering it is going to be the future. Now, keep in mind everything I'm doing here, I don't want you to just copy it word for word, I want you to understand what exactly I'm doing here. I need help finding businesses in my area alongside Chamber of Commerce, BNI, and other similar events or meetups. My goal is to become a local celebrity of sorts, such that my name is synonymous, there we go. Oh, good thing we're a software engineer and not an English teacher, right? Such that my name is synonymous with the AI guy or the tech guy. Any business that wants to adopt AI should come to me. There we go. So now let's see what it's going to cook up for us. And from here, we can take the direction of, okay, it's going to give us something. I'm going to do a little bit of an analysis on it, and we're going to get started. But before I even get to this step, ideally, I would have looked for my own network, right? And I would have talked with people in my network to introduce me to business owners. The biggest caveat here is going to be how you're going to frame yourself to do this. Two software engineers located in the same exact city, same exact skills, same exact everything. The difference between success and losing is going to be the way you frame yourself to other people, how they're going to look at you, how they're going to view you. I have a video on this separately that I'll link somewhere here that you can watch, or I'll leave in the description below that you can take a look at it later. But just understand that's going to be a part of it as well. Now, let's see what it's going to cook up here and what we're going to get. If you're walking in the chamber, I help with it. You sound like everybody else, blah, 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 we're your buyers. This is the chamber. Oh, by the way, the reason it's answering like this is because this is my own actual Claude, and I have specific rules for it whenever it answers and the way it considers the information. So let's take a look and see what I got. What commerce person category ownership? Yes, perfect. So this is basically exactly what I was talking about as well. This Claude is pretty much my own brain, honestly, at this point. It's kind of like I'm speaking to myself here. But the point about getting on stages and presenting is going to be the biggest thing here, running your own free workshop too. So help me identify the Chamber of Commerce. Actually, let's do research on what's available in the city in terms of businesses I can help, Chamber of Commerce and BNI. So let's see what we actually get from here. The room, okay, so for now it's giving pretty good information, but obviously we want the specifics here. I don't want just general advice based on doing it. And keep in mind, the reason I'm keeping this so casual, right, this is just me talking with Claude, is to showcase to you that you don't need some crazy levels of preparation. Like, you can right now, immediately after this video, go and do the same exact thing. That's why I'm keeping this so simple. That's why I don't have a bunch of prompts ready, a bunch of things ready, a full-on presentation ready. It's because I want to showcase in real time what it looks like going through this, you and I together, okay? So 26 largest in the US, 2.4 million, 10th largest US city. The growth is where a lot of hungry, underserved SMBs are, largest suburbs. Okay, so I get these are crazy numbers, by the way. 974,000, that's a lot of people. Major business clusters, IT and communications, so these are the bigger guys. The SMB for home services, there's a bunch of those. Use cases are obviously AI, phones, okay. Professional services, law firms, accounts, okay. Medical practices, obviously, marketing. There's an enormous association vertical layer to tap. The Metro has around professional associations and Chamber of Commerces, and separately, roughly, businesses and industry associations, including bodies like the Texas. Yeah, so already you can see what we found here. So one of the first moves that I would do is go ahead and actually see how many of these I can join, and if they're hosting any events, and go meet them in person. I would give myself a month to literally just go out there and meet people and talk with people and make sure my name is known. So the Greater Austin Chamber is the anchor, based downtown with more than 30 annual events. That's really good. You have more than 2 a month that you can attend. 900 and over 900 investors. Yeah, these are crazy. Georgetown Chamber, independent nonprofit, over 1,000 members. Were there any chambers like Great Austin? No. And Score Austin, SBS. So there's a lot already here that you can utilize, right? Keep in mind, each thing that's listed here, if you give yourself a month to kind of digest everything in this page that you're seeing, every single day you set a goal of going out, meeting people, going to these things, you will get some type of a result. Like, it's impossible not to, because you're definitely putting the inputs in, okay? Now, BNI, they have a few chapters there. 20 meetings, about 90 minutes, blah, blah, blah. The BNI has a chapter folder. Okay. So what I would do then here is I have a network of, and then I would put in something about my network. So ideally, I would have a full list of everybody that I know and everybody else that they know. And I would try to see where I have the most, I want to say, commonplace thing in. Meaning, is mostly everybody in my network in the medicine space, in logistics, in manufacturing, whatever. And I would try to identify, based on my network, what advantages I have in my location. For example, let's say I have somebody in my network is a med spa owner. And then turns out that for some reason Austin is a med spa capital of America. It's not, I'm just making it up. Then that means that, hey, based on my network of me having somebody that's a med spa owner and Austin being pretty popular for med spas, that's a direct correlation there that I can utilize as a strength, okay? That's how it would go from there. But what I've done already is, on a fundamental level, identified everything that I need to know about my area in terms of BNI and everything. And what I'm gonna do now, in case I forgot anything, I need you to give me other things I might have missed out on, or let's say I might not know about. Imagine it as paying ignorance debt. What other opportunities can I leverage for my goal. There we go. So I'll ask a question this way as well, just in case there's something that I'm not aware of, okay? And I'll do this regardless of what city I'm in or how much knowledge I have, just in case, once again, on the off chance there's something that I can utilize. And keep in mind, this is the first step, but let's say the step comes when I hop on my sales call. I'm gonna get that transcript. I'm literally gonna paste it in here and I'm gonna say, based on this transcript, right? And then copy paste, generate a requirements document, right? This requirements document, I have attached an example. You can either attach an example if you want it, or you can literally just ask it to do it on its own. But nevertheless, you can utilize all of this, right? All the tools that I'm telling you to make the entire process a lot easier. Keep in mind, I'm just doing this on regular Claude New Chat. I haven't even used Claude Code for this. I haven't necessarily created any crazy workflows or anything of that sort for this example, right? Now, for my own stuff, yes, we already have everything set up, but you don't need that starting off. It's gonna be extremely simple. Every single one of you watching this video can right now do this for your city, spend about an hour or 2 hours jotting everything down, identifying a plan of action, right? You can even ask Claude to give me a plan of action. Let's say I have 4 hours free every day after whatever PM, right? Help me schedule a strategy over the course of a month to execute everything you are telling me here, right? You can do something like that and it will help you with it too. But I would recommend just taking it into your own hands. And that's the proper thing that I'm talking about here. Every single one of you can do this for your own city right now where you're at. Take your first step in joining the chamber and reaching out to your network and talking with people and putting yourself out there, okay? Now, let me see what it gave me when I asked it to see if there's anything I can leverage. The CEO, peer advisory circuit, and a teaching path. Uncovering Vistage's expert speaker model and EU opportunities. Here's the stuff that usually sits in a blind spot, organized by branding. This is the single biggest miss. Every SMB already has a small set of trusted advisors. The highest value is SMBs managed. They already run. So this is more from hosting your own stuff type of thing that you can do. Borrow institutional credibility from the SBA City Educational Stack. These channels do two things at once. The City of Austin Small Business Program runs free business classes and explicitly brings in outside instructors to teach them. Confirmed cases of UT instructors teaching their certification courses. Pitch them an AI for small businesses class. That's a recurring room of owners plus the line, I can teach for the City of Austin. There we go. A perfect, fine idea that maybe off the top of my head I wouldn't have thought of, but definitely along the lines of hosting your own stuff and putting yourself out there, right? This thing, CEO Peer Advisory Speaker Circuit. I have no clue what this is actually. I don't know if this is a specific thing. Vistage alone has about 20 groups in Austin, run by 10 chairs, and the model deliberately includes expert speaker workshops brought into the group meetings. Chairs are constantly hunting for good speakers. Get on the chair's roster with Sharp AI for mid-sized businesses session, and you're presenting to a room of decision makers who can write you a check. I guarantee you there's not a single software engineer that's a part of this. Like, I am 90% confident, 99% confident there's not going to be a single software engineer that's going to be doing this. Even those of you who are watching this video, less than 1% of you is going to take action on this, right? So this other one, the AI expert label through the media and own an audience, use hard, help a B2B writer to answer journalist queries. Another phenomenal idea, right? For publications, things like that, for the people that actually maybe read stuff on a local level. Own a room instead of renting a seat. Hosts got to remember the things. Don't moves here first, host your own occurring. Yeah, I mean, we already talked about that. That's a really big one. Going to your own chamber of commerce events and asking if you can speak, hold one on your own, right? Landmark, even at a discount, and turn in a document case study. Yeah, obviously, that's kind of vendor certifications are free. Become a certified or preferred local partner for tools. Yeah, obviously, the most underrated warm rooms in any civic clubs. Rotary, yeah, Rotary clubs are also pretty good, actually. Yeah, so you can do these too. But the one that really surprised me was this Visage one. So let me see what this is actually about. Peer group for CEOs and business owners. Austin Vistage, let's chat. Ed Stillman, CEO, advisor, Austin Leadership Vistage. So I don't know what this particular thing is, but you see how it's unique to the city. Like, you can find something like this for your own city, and you would only need one particular thing, right? One particular opportunity. API documentation. Oh wow, okay, you have various things here. CEO docs. But once again, take a month. Analyze all this information, go out there, put it into practice, and you will see the result that you're going to be able to get. I never said it's easy, I never said it's fast, right? Actually, it is pretty easy, it's pretty simple, you just have to do the work. But imagine you allow yourself 1 to 3 years to build everything out. You start month by month. Imagine where you're going to be 2 to 3 years from now. Look at your 9 to 5. What changed in 2 to 3 years? What changed even in 5 years? Probably at the same exact job. Maybe you got a promotion, maybe you switched jobs, you're making 10, 20% more. With this, you're not going to be making 10 to 20% more. You're going to be in a completely different tax bracket. You're going to be unrecognizable. People are going to be like, how the hell did you manage to do that? Okay? So that's pretty much it. We're going to go back to the slides and then finish up the rest of the presentation. I shall see you there. So that is pretty much the entire thing. Now what do we do? Well, the engineer who owns their city beats the engineer who owns nothing but a GitHub repo. The whole system we just talked about, we identified the lie, okay? Code does not matter. Distribution over code. We then got into the local game, right? We want to go with odds as opposed to the ceiling. And then we want to tackle the distribution first, find the buyers, and then build. We now have a clean map of the entire deck in front of us. So what do we have to do? Well, get out of the house. That's what you need to do. First thing you need to do is write down everybody you know. Every business owner in your contacts, everybody who might know a business owner in your city. Join your local chamber of commerce. It's cheap and you have immediate room access. Visit BNI chapter, attend as a guest this week, and then decide if you want to join after the fact. And this week, not some other day. And give yourself time to be successful, okay? Do not rush the process. This isn't a 2 to 3 week get rich quick scheme. This is a 1 to 3 year long process that you're going to utilize to build yourself a life that you would have probably never even dreamed of. In 2 or 3 years, you can be completely financially free, have a multi-million-dollar net worth, be recognized on a level locally such that you won't ever have to worry about money ever again. And if you want to scale that way further, you still can. Once again, this is the foundation that you're building. You can build a SaaS later if you want to, because you're going to have the money, you're going to have the connections to do so. Okay? And you'll also have an audience behind you if you already have the content out there as well. And every single founder inside Code to CEO started exactly here. All real engineers, all got real clients, all got real money, and there was no need for a SaaS casino for them to gamble on, okay? The window is open right now, but once again, it's not gonna stay open. I highly recommend starting it as soon as possible. You realistically only have a few years to really get this going, okay? Now, if you wanna understand specifically how to utilize Claude for more than just this particular thing, but also how I'm running my business utilizing Claude and how you can make at least $50,000 a month with it as a developer, also the highest leverage use cases, and secrets from my own experience building A/B analytics, well, I'm going to be holding a live masterclass on June 21st, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. The link will be in the description below. It's completely for free. Just go ahead and sign up. Now, if you want to work with me directly, you can apply to code2ceo.com, and if your application is approved, you'll hop on a call with me and we'll do a quick little interview, and once again, if you're accepted, we'll begin working together. There's only 3 spots, it's applications only, and it's only for ambitious software engineers, okay? So understand, vibe coding is not gonna make you magically rich, you're gonna be the one that's gonna make you rich. So go out there and get started and keep pushing boundaries. Have a good rest of your day.